Good evening and welcome everyone to the October Nominations and Appointments Committee meeting. Tonight we have two applicants, and we'll start with our first applicant who is here for the Equal Business Opportunity Advisory Board. And I see you are online virtually, and I apologize. I'm going to ask you if you could pronounce your name for us.
Yes, it's Edith.
Edith, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we pronounced it correctly. Welcome. And before I forget, I'm Councilman Chris Miller from District 6, and with me is Wanda Negron from District 5. Okay, we're going to start with a couple questions. Just very, casual conversation. It's not like a formal inquiry, inquest. We'll keep it casual. The first one is, I just want to make sure you have a good understanding of the board that you're applying for. Could you just sort of give us an overview?
You mean what I expect from the board?
No, what you expect the board to be responsible for, like what the board will be carrying out and what your role will be on the board.
Okay, well, this position seems to allow us to reach local businesses and create initiative. Also provide fairness and collaborate with sustainable development from our community. And I think I could contribute to this board. To the development of our community with a more effective perspective and awarenesses of what the city administration is trying to achieve. Because I am a homeowner in Reading, and I think I could give a great perspective of how my neighborhood needs and the other community needs.
Okay, thank you. And with us now is Councilperson Marcia Goodman-Hintersitz, who just stepped in.
Hi.
Did you have any questions, or do you want to review? I know you just came in.
That's okay. First of all, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the interview.
Thank you for your time. I really enjoyed everything, and I would like to be part of, and I'm sorry I'm a little bit nervous, but I think it will be a great opportunity to join your board as a wonderful empowerment tool that can provide our community like a positive impact within all the area of Reading.
Okay, so my question to you, knowing maybe a little bit about the businesses, what do you think some of the challenges businesses in Reading might face as far as equal opportunity?
I think it is important to have a nearby quality childcare, for example, for working families. And also, I believe that eliminating a license to the street vendors is a good priority. For this and other reasons, I think more than just the other reasons that could have, I think those two will be on the most important ones.
And let me make sure I understood it. You're concerned about the licenses for street vendors, that impacts on local businesses.
I mean, in other words, I think I am more concerned about a better quality of life to our community, and one of the things that we can work on, it could be eliminating the licensed street vendors, and also provide a better quality childcare for working families in here in Reading.
And I appreciate your sensitivity for childcare, because you're absolutely on target with that. Is that businesses can't hire if employees can't find childcare to be able to be employed. That's just so critical. The street vendors thing, I find it's also interesting. I sort of appreciate your perspective on that. So they're basically in competition with the brick and mortar, if you may, businesses to be able to attract clients. And of course, street vendors have a whole lot less overhead. Is that sort of what you were looking at? I just want to make sure I got that right as far as your response.
Well, what I mean with eliminating the unlicensed street vendors, it's because when I walk around the city, I can see that we could be a little bit more organized on that aspect. And also, it's like we could have a better quality of life if we could consume the things that we need for our licensed vendors. For example, the healthy food that we buy, it would be awesome if we just could have a licensed vendors, because you can imagine if, I mean, I have seen that a lot of times, that you are just walking the streets and there's a lot of unlicensed vendors just giving you some food, and you can see the animals. It's just insane, unhealthy what they are giving to our community. So I
Thank
think,
you very much.
yes, thank you.
Your insight is very much appreciated. I don't really have any other questions. Did Wanda get a chance?
No, not yet.
So my question would be, what experience do you bring to this board?
Could you repeat that question, please?
I said, what experience do you bring to the board? Do you have any experience?
Um,
And
I actually have experience, but to be honest, not in this country, because I am just 2 years old in here. But in my country, of course, I was available to help not just the community. I mean, not just the people. I was even involved with the animals and all of this kind of activities, because I am more like a helpful people. If I can help you with something, I would like to be involved on that kind of activities. For example, in my country, I was working with a team, and we usually clean the spaces and talk with people so they can be more educated about the common good for the community, not just think of one person. If we can talk to the people and teach them how can we improve, not just as a single person, I mean as a community, we can grow together and we can be on another level. So that was the kind of activity that I was joining on my country.
I have another question. Being that you know, I'm talking about the street vendors. And when you was in the board back in your country, how did you feel about other vendors that work in your community? Because there are a lot of vendors in your community. I mean, a lot of vendors.
Yes, they
How
actually.
How did you work with them?
I am okay. I'm just asking for a better quality of life. If your licenses, if you are able to, approve to work, I am more than open to any job that we can have in the community. I'm just asking for if we could be a little bit more organized, if we could be a little bit more healthy to our community, we can grow as a group, as a community. It's not just like vendor street licensed, because I'm talking about, it's not just a single vendor. I'm talking about every vendor. If it's not licensed, I think we should revive that.
Your experience here in Reading has been 2 years. How, much more do you know about vendors here in Reading?
Huh?
You've been here 2 years in Reading. How are you familiar with the vendors over here in Reading?
Okay, I am a little bit more familiar with that because I am working with an architectural firm right now, and we do a couple works in the city. Most of them are on the city. And when we go there to make a survey and see the place, the locals and everything, we have a lot of time that we need to be walking on the street to see the buildings, to see the site, to see all of these kind of things. So when we are walking the streets, we can see all of these little parts that we can improve regarding our community.
Take this one.
Edith, I just have one question. Just, we ask everybody, especially if they're being newly appointed.
Mhm.
Does your schedule permit you to attend the meetings that
Yes,
are?
yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious now, because you brought up an architectural firm. Which architectural firm did you work with in the city?
Well, I work actually with the old architecture in Berks County. It's called Muhlenberg Green Architects. I am
Okay.
architect, but I am graduate in my country. In here, I am working as a design technician. I'm sorry. Yes.
Good for you. Okay, that's great. If you're able to take the skills you learned in the Dominican Republic and brought them here, that's great.
Yes. Thank you. I'm still learning new things in here, but yes.
Do you have any questions for us at all?
Yes. I would like to know, what do you expect to me on this position?
Okay, so when we enacted this legislation, there was a concern that all businesses do not have an equal opportunity to be able to establish businesses within the city of Reading. So that's really why the board was established, to really give a way of being able to promote equal opportunity in all businesses. And so things that need to be looked at, and I like, your approach is sort of balanced as far as, yeah, you need to look at certain issues such as health, quality of life and such, but also, look at what businesses might need to do. And I think your background's really interesting because it has to do with understanding about architecture, having to do, with what businesses may need to look for as they try to get sited within the city. Does that make sense to you? Is that helpful at all?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Also,
so
I'm sorry.
here, Shelley, do you want to explain the rest of the process?
Sure. So after this evening, the committee will discuss moving your name forward to the full council, at which point they will vote formally on an appointment. Then you'll hear from me with a quick little email, and you'll get a packet of information in the mail that gives you some more information about the board itself. I will let you know that you are the third person appointed to this board, so you'll now have a quorum. So we'll have to get you all organized into days and times that you're available so that we can have you all come together and get the work of the board started. So it's very exciting. You'll be in on the ground floor and get to see, give the board some new direction. So,
Okay, it sounds interesting. Thank you.
Thank you for applying.
Thank you for your time. I really enjoyed meet with everyone.
Thank you for taking the time to appear virtually.
Thank you.
And we wish you a good night, and Shelley will be in contact with you.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Good evening. Okay, our next appointment is for Nicholas Irick. Nick? Hi. Good to see you. And this is for the Blighted Property Review Committee, and this is a reappointment. You've been on for 10 years?
I think almost 10, not, yeah, 10 now. Been a decade. Looking forward to continuing.
So with your experience on the board, it almost seems like you should tell us, rather than us asking you.
About what we're here.
That's good. Yeah, really.
Not much, but, there's been recent turnover on the board, so it is good to see some new people on the board with some new ideas. I think, are we in around 250 houses?
yeah, give or
Around
take.
there somewhere. Feel like the problem we've been running into most recently is Heather has too much to do. She's the only person we have right now, right? We're in the meetings, it's her, right? You know, she's running the show in there. She's got the liaison between all of the people that are sitting there, you know, she's got the slideshow ready to go. And I think what she needs is either one of the codes inspectors to be just for elected. I think we've reached that point after me being here for a decade and even before me. The codes enforcers report back there, but they're mixed in. All of the other stuff.
I have a favor, only because we're televised, and also for my benefit too, but the fact that you've been on for 10 years, could you just explain, and also for Councilor Negron too, the concept of the Blighted Property Review Committee, and then also the purpose, and then
Yeah.
we'll wrap it all
On
together.
the finish line there, you know, that's the finish line stuff.
And also what works and what doesn't work.
Okay. So when we get there, usually there's about, from experience, 20 to 30 things on the docket. Properties are to be for that meeting. And lately, we've been getting a little press, so people have been showing up more, but traditionally 20% show up, 25% show up. We now have people waiting there, they get there 5 minutes. They're there for one of 5 or 6 reasons. You could have your utilities can get you on the radar, your taxes can get you on the radar. But more times than not, it's the ghost. They pile up, they don't show up, they get some no-show violations, now they've racked up fees, now they're in collections. So a lot of times, it seems that it may not even have been the worst blighted situation, but by not addressing it, it's turned into a whole nother thing. And more times than not, the people that are there to defend the property, they didn't know, I didn't get the mail, I didn't hear back from this person. There seems to be a lack of communication somewhere along the line, either on their end or the city's end. But more times than not, that ends up being the sticking point. And then Heather comes in, takes over, call me tomorrow, okay. You know, when we table something, she's got to handle all that stuff. And remember, when we come back in 6 months later sometimes, that's a long time, you know. What do we tell them they had to do? You know, I still like we need a little more structure once we make a ruling, sticking to it, and seems like codes is a little overwhelmed with their own regular job of doing the codes enforcing for the city, and the blighted is up another level, you know? It just seems like that's where we get stuck.
And I'm gonna make a comment now. You picked an ideal time to bring this to our attention. Because in the next half hour, we're gonna be having a budget review of the department that oversees code. So we definitely, at least I will bring that to the table as a question to the Director of Community Development.
I was fill out an application for codes enforcer, but they were not available. Just to put my name in the ring there for just somebody in there that's connected with this board.
Yeah, so I have a question. In the 10 years that you've been on this board, and I realize in those 10 years, we also went through Act 47, which I'm sure affected the way things were handled, but since exiting Act 47, have things improved or not?
Felt like we hit a good groove a few years in, and I think it slowed down for a little bit. I think the coronavirus now set us back a little bit. Okay. Because the meetings were as infrequent, the people were coming in less. They were showing up less virtually for, pandemic reasons, I would imagine. So that better about 2 years, I think, set us back a little bit. And then it feels like we're playing catch up. When I got on the board, the way I look at it is I want to be the guy for the people, so they're not getting kicked out of their house. Owner occupied is big on my list of things. They live there. Let's do anything we can do to not, put them in a situation where they're not having a home. But now it's not turned into that so much.
Right. I think the concern that I've always had with blight, especially if the properties are vacant, it's not the property, it's the adjoining properties that usually are occupied and now being affected by the blight.
One bad block, one bad house, especially on a row home, you got the house next to it,
Right.
the house next to it. Structurally, a lot of times they're even.
Right.
People have been showing up, and I think that's a positive thing. People are taking much more attention on board, and I think it's working because there's been, whether it's, I don't know what it's been, but there's definitely, if you look back and check the last calendar year, those meetings have been full. And that wasn't the case. Could be Corona. I think so. And people are starting to come around, follow the rules. We've had pretty many successful, I don't know what the number is, but like, yay, they did it. They did what we said for them.
And we don't hear that side of it.
Yeah, we see that. It does happen.
Do you think the one thing that's factored into this is that if we look back even 5 years ago, the difference in the value of properties in the city have increased dramatically to the point where
Treating it such.
it's a different investment than what it
There was
was.
a time I grew up here, went to school here, went to Reading. There were times when you could buy those row homes for $5,000. That wasn't that long ago. All those houses have lawns in front of them now. So they're all
Correct.
75.
Yeah.
So
Any other
times
questions?
are changing.
Yeah, I'm gonna just present to you, and first of all, when you declare a property blighted, what's your expectations of what's gonna happen next?
Well, you have to make a decision to blight it or not. Once that happens, they have 60 days to get it off the list. So even if we blight you, which sounds like it's the end of the world, oh no, we got blighted. You still get 60 days to get off the list if the things that we blighted you for are corrected. So
So if it isn't corrected, because the property across the street from my house has been blighted since, I think, 2018.
that's kind of where our road ends. And that's where we need some more. We need to take it somewhere else. A lot of times I feel like the taxis get them before we do.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens.
Yeah.
I've been on the board for 10 years. I don't know what happens to them.
Interesting.
And I feel like maybe people may have caught on to that over the state. That's why.
Yeah, like that definitely,
You know,
for the situation.
we can do what we do, and things won't happen to you legally, but I think the people have on this quite the ordeal. A lot of things have to happen, so you don't know what they're. I'm doing this for, I don't know what happens after a week.
Well, educational.
I've learned a lot with that.
I think it would be good for everybody on the board to sort of have a walkthrough of. If I were on the board and that would
Yeah.
be
Yep.
for 2 meetings.
Yeah, we walk it up to the finish line, and once it gets there, the board pretty much doesn't have anything to do with it after that. We make our ruling, they either abide or don't. And after that happens, I don't have any input to what happens, or my ruling is the last thing they find the count about. For that.
Any other questions?
You have a lot of experience.
I like it too. I learned a lot doing this.
And you like
It's great. I like it. Helps. It helps me out well.
Right.
It helps them. I like to be the person that when they come in, a lot of people are scared.
Mhm.
You know, their house is on the line. They don't know what's gonna happen to them. I like to reassure them sometimes.
So you look more to help them out.
We're gonna help you. We're gonna help you. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to help you. We're not on the list because of A, B, and C. Things.
But here I'm not an advocate to the community. My concern is the community and learning itself.
The reason I got on the board, I've been on the board for 10 years because I bought my house in the city years ago. I used my life savings to buy one of the last big houses that needed work up in the Hampton Heights area. That's where I wanted to be. So not a business in the city and that for over 2 decades. I'm a city kid. I like the city.
I have an off the wall question. You're not related any to George Ivory.
No, I know who it is though.
Okay, he used to be my neighbor,
Really?
across the street from me.
Mhm.
Okay.
His wife was one of my elementary school teachers.
There was another set of Irish that was a professor at Albright. I don't know where he had orders. Then
You say you have a business.
I work at Cafe Wolf. That's been there for 20. I've been there 22 years. It's been there for 42 years.
What is it?
6 and old. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nicest back bar in the city.
Beautiful back bar. Beautiful
Yeah.
back bar. They just put a lot of resources into that area down there. The women's shelter should be open, so
Yeah,
it's nice. I miss the mission.
Yeah.
It's gone, but
the mission, the store, yeah.
people needed that. There's a little boy there. Another thing.
Yeah, he just couldn't stop nowhere because he was in, nowhere. I mean, he didn't go no place that I know of, you know. I mean,
Well, it's beautiful now.
yeah, it was a really situation for many years, we struggled getting, it's not over.
Sure.
So are you aware of our recent legislation to reduce the number of members on blighted property? Okay, so we passed an ordinance last week where the number is now 5, so that you will always have a quorum. Okay,
Okay.
I've been following the last couple of meetings, you know,
No, that makes sense.
Chris,
I
about,
apologize. I was absent for those meetings.
yeah, well, that happens, but yeah.
So I can apologize for that.
yeah, but it will make the group be able to congeal more.
Yep.
Okay, that if you don't have to wait for having, you know,
Is Tom coming back? Mr. McMahon coming back? Is he on the board?
Yeah.
Yep.
I like,
Yes,
I like
he will be
having
there.
him on the board.
Yeah.
I like his input.
yeah, he's very, very diligent now, with keeping a list of all the blighted properties, just, you know, he's going through the
His first
city.
meeting, I showed him the ropes. The second meeting, he came back with pictures of every property.
Yeah.
He's ready to go.
He and I've had a lot of conversations.
He's ready to go.
Well, I really admire your enthusiasm and also your or feedback to us, because like, again, it could be more timely.
Well, we just need a little bit of tighter knit crew.
Right.
And code for like, whether that equals people or time of other people that are already here.
Put friends together, really.
Yep. The information's there, it's just, one person really has access to all of those things. On top of every other property in the city, and we have those 250 ones there.
Did you have any questions for us?
No, I know how the process works. You just answered the one question I didn't know about the scaling it down to five.
Just happened.
So please consider me on sale.
It just happened last Monday.
Okay, do we need to, you know the process, so we don't have to.
Been through it. It's fine, it's, yeah, I knew that you'd be here whether one way or the other, so.
Thank you for your commitment to the city, really well.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Have a good evening. Okay,
Hello, and find you in café.
I want to find it.
Agarrate café.
I have to remember to put that on our to-eat list.
Yeah, have some coffee. No more flowers for me.
all right.
See you guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye, thank you.
What else do we have on the agenda?
That's it, unless you want to review the pending, that's the
I think
only
we
thing.
Pretty well have done that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So who decided when we go into this, like the last one, how did you make a decision to appoint the last two that we had to do?
So it's the majority of the committee makes a recommendation to council to put it on the agenda for the vote. So
Yeah.
if 2 out of the 3 of us agrees, then it goes on the agenda.
Mm. Okay, so we have two people to consider. And there's two people that agree and one doesn't agree. What happens?
majority rules. All right, then I would say that concludes our meeting,
Take over, honey.
Okay,
Thank
okay, that's fine.
and,
you. Let me see.
we need a motion to adjourn. Okay,
Nope.
then everyone have a good evening.
The verification or whatever.